It is Friday. It is April 22nd, 2022. There is a conversational piece on See the BS this morning, or CBS Mornings, in the New York area. Now, it is hard to think of. I watched the piece instantaneously. I knew how to match my piece to the conversation that they started, of what I needed to say, what I wanted to say, that kind of thing. What I'm unclear of, because of the teachings or the lack of teachings within my life frame in this area, is how the respectful elsewhere that have, I think it's 5 symbols, 5 letters, I don't want to say 11, 5 symbols, let's go with symbols at the moment, or 5 characters, perhaps, is a better word, that they use, but they have a different flag somewhere else. When they are at their most respected, I do not know how or what they expect at their most respected level. What frightens me in where I am is the lack of teachings to my person, in a symbolic gesture, in a symbolic way of how they'd like to be addressed, or if anything should arise during my time frame here. So I'm in a pattern of this, which distinguishes a differential of a pattern that they use somewhere else. Although it's not a direct whatever, it's just to where I am inside New York State, inside this big apple, which they use for a special purpose, communication, I think is a filter of protection, so as not to inflame whatever. And then there's a larger, a big apple is closer, like where I am, and then there might be a larger empire state, which, for whatever, yesterday, so the FBI director is, or it says the head of the FBI, is speaking this morning. Now, when he is speaking, I noticed that there was no symbolic pattern behind him other than the seal or the circle for which he works. But his message is what made me think of something that goes unthought of, or I haven't heard it addressed in a way locally, for whatever reason. In this, where I am, it's not just one outside pattern. There are several outside pattern squares, or rectangles is the name of the shape. So this is what the man says this morning.
All right, Nancy, thank you very much. This morning, the head of the FBI is spelling out what he calls China's growing threat to American economic security. Christopher Wray, director of the FBI, detailed the risks in a wide-ranging interview with Scott Pelley for Sunday's 60 Minutes. They also spoke about how the FBI is assisting Ukraine, countering domestic and international terrorism, and cyber threats from Russia. Wray says that China, to put it delicately, is a unique challenge.
The biggest threat we face as a country from a counterintelligence perspective is from the People's Republic of China, and especially the Chinese Communist Party. No country presents a broader, more severe threat to our ideas, our innovation, our economic security than China. And they are targeting our innovation, our trade secrets, our intellectual property on a scale that's unprecedented in history.
What I've noticed in the field, since I have children of my own, is when I look at, he says data collection and data mining, or those sorts of things. He doesn't say it today, but I've heard other words, farming, fishing, that kind of thing, for strictly the electronic information on a people, almost like as an electronic leash system, is the way I've heard it used before, not by somebody at his level of importance, but some other nominal whatever. But I look on something like this that Linda bought me, which I don't even know how to use this because I don't have an integrated accounting system. It has this symbol, and it's called this. So Linda bought this for me, which was a very nice gift, but again, I don't have an Apple account. I don't have money to buy Apple Music, and I don't know how to, other than with the wire, but I don't have a computer. So this makes this almost a, it's still in the box, let's put it that way. But the thought was nice. And then there's this, which also, when I look on manufacturer, or not manufacturer, when I look at the characters that make a word pattern, made, M-A-D-E, and then I-N, it then has the same 5-letter word or letter pattern, or character pattern, or symbol pattern, that matches in a certain language another place that has a map or a globe that is taught that there are whatever, that there's the same, there's like a match up there. Now, parlez-vous français is totally different in Inglese, in English. It's a different spelling. And it's just different. It's chinois. But then under certain rectangle, the 5 letters make a different sound. And based on some of the teachings of the area, it looks like it matches up to a teaching tool that they use. I have heard that there are people here from another rectangle pattern. I can't confirm it for sure that they've moved here, or their residents here, or I don't have any access to verification of who and where people go when they get on an airplane, or what they do with their daily lives. But it is a frightening alternative or possibility that in something called a market share or a fight at some level, perhaps unrest in the American colonies, could affect the health and well-being of my person while I am here through several different methods that I have discovered. So that is frightening. And how does one address that and to whom? I am unclear. But when the head of such importance says things like this word pattern and then this in quotation marks unprecedented and then edented threat. There's something with Eden in there. And a UN, and it was pre-C.
They have a bigger hacking program than that of every other major nation combined. They have stolen more of Americans' personal and corporate data than every nation combined.
What is the FBI doing about that?
So the FBI is keenly focused on the China counterintelligence threat. We are now moving at a pace where we're opening a new China counterintelligence investigation about every 12 hours.
That's a lot of investigations. You can see Scott Pelley's full interview with the FBI director Sunday night on 60 Minutes.
And my question is, does the gentleman have a dedicated team to preserve the information discovered or whatever of, like, is it separated or is it this sloppiness that I've seen inside, say, New York? I've watched the rest of the programming this morning, and there are border crossing issues with other squares and rectangles, or actually other rectangles and patterns that I've seen stories on, whatever their sounds that are associated. I don't need to make light of because the news programming or whatever this is addressed as has already been making a point of it. I've been recording in my own whatever. But what I'm unclear of is if there is this unrest in, even this morning they tried to explain with an example of Puerto Rico about this word of colony. In my local area of being taken to the schoolhouse and pledging the allegiance to this pattern and then having to sit for hours with some integrated professor or teacher, they did not go into teaching what the colony was as opposed to what a state is, and so on and so forth. So I have limited access to, like, rudimentary tools, really, that now have been handed out by the local schoolhouse in this year as an updated, I suppose, guide. I'm not really very clear, but I use this as a tool because this is the most recent integrated with the system that's currently here on trying to explain how to whichever, but it is unclear It gives what I call large umbrella almost terminology to hold on to, but it doesn't have specifics attached to those larger constructs, like larger building blocks. So it is star 1978, star 8378, Nicole, Cattaruzza. It's Earth, solar system, Milky Way universe. Galaxy is broken, or Gala is broken for me. It is Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361. And again, it's April 22nd, 2022.